So before we get into details, is this one of the best Arnolds you've ever seen?
It's one of the worst.
You think so? Really? Wait,
everyone has said that. As far as competition wise, you're talking about, right?
Before the Arnold, everyone said this was one of the most stacked lineups that they've seen.
But everyone backed out. Cedric backed out. Rolly backed out. Bonac couldn't make it.
That's true. Let's start with that. What was Rolly we knew about earlier and Cedric a bit earlier, but what was the impact of Bonac? Because I thought about it, I was thinking like Bonac being the person that everyone was looking to win in the beginning, he's sort of the centerpiece that gets compared to, in a way. So I thought like him not being in it would make it a big man show and the taller people would be competing more.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it was good that Bonac wasn't there because he was going to be a clear favorite to win that show if he was 100%, and it would have been like him and everyone else, I think. But because he wasn't there, it was like literally a toss-up. Like anyone could have won that show, and the only person that delivered yesterday was Nick.
Do you still think that if Bonac came in his best condition ever, that he would have beat Nick?
1,000%, yeah.
Okay, so let's stop the discussion about the main class. Let's quickly just review the classic physique because I wanted to discuss this also.
There was some bad judging with that. They gave Logan Franklin over Brian Jones.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what exactly. So I got these pictures from NPC News. They're not the best pictures. Obviously, everybody who got a chance to see the video, it's way better. But we're assuming you guys got to see the video, so we're just gonna use this for reference. But these are just the comparisons. I just pulled them out. There's Brian Jones or Lord Jones on the right here. And you can't see in detail. I guess his condition supposedly is not that great. But
it was better than Logan's, especially from the back. Look at that.
Yeah, his condition wasn't that bad, was it? Why was everyone saying it was horrible?
Oh, I didn't even see people say that. I didn't think his condition was horrible. I mean, he wasn't crazy peeled, but he was in good shape.
So my impression is like...
I think he's still better than Logan, I mean.
First of all, by the way, how did this guy get it? What's this guy doing here? It's so random.
Dude, that guy's from France. He came out to a French song.
He's random and... Wait, why can't I see
Dude, Leo, you know what's making me really cringe about this photo that you just are putting up right here?
What?
In the left corner, it says Team Atlas.
Oh, wow. It's still there, huh?
Team Atlas is sponsoring the website and paying them, and you know all about them, and you know what the guy is all about. So that to me is just insane.
There's a lot of stuff that goes on like that. But look, anyway, so this guy is I mean, with total respect to him, he's obviously a well-developed physique, but it's very interesting to look at him compared to these three. But so this guy, Lord Jones over here, he's the same height as Logan almost, right? Far more muscular.
Yes.
Every muscle is shapely compared to Logan, for example, like depth of chest, very round shoulders, very nice quad sweep. Let's see what we can see from other pictures here. But some people say they don't like his side chest, I think because of how he does it. And obviously Logan is a great poser. But his side chest shows the amount of muscle and in my opinion, it's aesthetic muscle. I don't know, Bostin, why people say he doesn't belong in classic. Because if you look at him here, it doesn't show here. Let's show where his waist shows properly, clearly. Well, you can't really see it, but his waist is actually, I saw comparisons, it's actually thinner than Logan's.
Oh, for sure. Logan has a weird look, man. His midsection looks weird up close.
Now, his waist is not thinner than Terrence's, but it is thinner than Logan's.
So Terrence, to me, was the clear winner based on the judging criteria of classic. Like, to me, that's a good classic look,
Yeah, I think that. Obviously, my opinion, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I think nobody knows what they talk about classic physique. To be honest, nobody knows.
Yeah, there's no judging criteria, honestly.
So we can just wing it. So my thoughts were, I think that this guy who was the second last year, also, right?
No, he won last year.
Oh, he won last year. He came in very good condition, and there was some argument between the two of them.
Yeah.
I think that most people said Terrence came in worse condition than last year, at least last Olympia. So, but that's very interesting, like to think about what's going to happen at the Olympia. Does he have time?
He did. So he wasn't as hard and lean, but he was a lot bigger.
Is he really bigger? I thought he was at the weight cap.
Yeah, but no, he's not
Maybe
at the weight cap. No.
That's crazy because he's so what I think.
Well, he might be at the weight cap now, but he wasn't last year.
Yeah, look at that. You can sort of see, obviously it's a horrible picture, but you can sort of see his waist here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And you can see Lord Jones has a very small waist also, actually. So I don't really
I
know.
mean, this other black guy to his left looked good, but he wasn't in shape. He wasn't peeled. The guy to his left.
Yeah. Yeah, whereas Logan is obviously like he has great poses and he looks majestic. But by the way, I saw Logan in an interview, and dude, the guy's jawline looks so suspect compared to that Instagram profile we saw. You remember that guy that does the injections on the jawline?
Oh yeah, I would. It wouldn't surprise me.
It
These
looks
guys,
like he has jawbreakers in his mouth the whole time.
these guys get so insecure, man. Especially because he came from men's physique. I mean, it wouldn't surprise these guys like to change their appearance just like females do. I mean, females lip fillers and face fillers are going rampant in the NPC and the IFBB with chicks.
Yeah. So what's your opinion? I don't even understand. I mean, I guess Brian Jones is slightly less dry maybe than or less than this guy, for example, and
Yeah.
maybe a bit less
No,
than him.
I didn't have Brian beating the main guys, but I did have Brian ahead of Logan.
Interesting. But if Brian came in condition, wouldn't you have him winning?
Possibly, yeah.
If he
I
has
mean,
the best condition?
it's hard to say, you know what I mean? Because he wasn't completely peeled out of his mind where he needed to be.
My thought is that with Terrence, who, by the way, whenever I see an interview, I'm so impressed with his personality, and I think I hold him in such high regard. And he's clearly like an expert poser. He puts a lot of effort into his craft and all that, and I have great respect for him. But because of his height, he's almost so wide that I think it becomes unaesthetic. Like he's so wide for his height, and his lats are low, so it's like, you know what I mean? He looks like a bat almost.
Yeah,
Like, not
that's
that way, but
the shape they like for classic, though. I'm telling you, they like that look.
interesting. All right, so those are our thoughts about. Let me see if I missed anything. Oh yeah, I was gonna say that, you know, like if you look at a lot of it is about that waist to shoulder ratio. Boston, imagine in the next 10 years when classic physique gets popular with like younger people and they start to use like corsets when they're in their teenage years, and
Oh, like if they start training for it super young.
yeah, because that's the thing. You know, they used to put corsets on women in the 1700s, 1800s, and they used to do it, or early 1800s, they used to do it at a young age. So it can actually, they used to, with women, they don't focus on the hips, but it can really limit the growth.
Yeah.
So if young guys use corsets and like growth hormone or MK677, they're going to be even white guys in the future coming here with tiny, crazy waists, I think. But anyway, so that's the classic physique. Now, bodybuilding for me was really fascinating. It was very unexpected. I found it extremely interesting. So I don't know where we should start. Let's start with
And did you watch the live stream of the bodybuilding or no?
yeah, I did, and I wanted to ask you about that. Actually, explain to me, what was your opinion of Arnold's commentary?
Horrible. It was so bad that they shouldn't allow that guy near a microphone because they stopped having him interviewed. He used to interview all the winners. And they stopped doing that. Bob Ciccarello interviewed all the winners because I think they know that he's just lost it. He's lost it with his comments. Like he's lost it, dude.
He was I'm a big fan of history, so I was enjoying myself because it was basically a history lesson. But it was a history lesson with snide like little remarks against
Snide remarks.
He's like, Ian's calves, like there are no calves. There's just no calves. And then Ian gets in another pose. He's like, I don't know why he would do a side tricep. He has no tricep. So maybe he shouldn't have chosen to do that. It was an optional one. I don't know why he would do that. Like he was doing like these little, you know,
He kept talking about the damn fucking vacuum.
Yeah, he was really talking about the vacuum a lot. And he also didn't, when Nick did the tongue, he said, oh, no, maybe you shouldn't do that tongue. But what was more interesting was that they had Kuclo's wife on the panel
and
also.
When they gave him third, she had a meltdown on camera.
Yeah, but even if she didn't have a meltdown, you put it in a difficult position. She has to commentate.
I told Ariella that. I said she should have never been, but she's probably the one that wanted that job. She should have never been commentating on somebody that her husband is doing a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, obviously. Okay, so I thought we'll start with I called this the rest, but you know, I only pulled out comparisons because we can't be that exhaustive, and these are, I think, from prejudging. First of all, can we comment on something? The background is black, and it's so black that honestly, Akeem can't be seen properly in most of the poses.
They need to start using the same lighting in photography as the PCA because whatever the PCA does with their lighting, it's so much better than what's going on here.
I like how Arnold was commenting on the lighting. He was like, these guys, like, they really should practice on the lighting and understand how the lighting reflects. And he was like giving them advice on it. But you have a backdrop that's completely black. So the darker guys, like Max Charles also, you can't see him in some of the, you can't see him that well. And same for Akeem. So, okay, I think maybe we'll just look through them and comment as comments come out. The first one let's comment on is Hassan. To me,
that guy, dude, is so impressive. How much his muscle is just insane. But he needs to find a new coach. After this, he'll probably go somewhere else. I think he qualified for the Olympia on points, and then after this Olympia, he'll have to find a new coach because whatever they're doing is not working.
Well, let's discuss that. So, with all respect to Chris Aceto, which both of us respect greatly, so this isn't a dig on Chris Aceto at all, but obviously it's not working, so you have to try something else, and you've tried quite a bit. Who would you think he should go to? Because obviously, now keep in mind to the audience. We're commenting as he's a pro. Like, if you're not a pro, obviously this would be different advice. But since he's
hooked up with Hani Rambod, he would be a Mr. Olympian, in my opinion. If he hooked up with a guy like Hani. If he had Hani's resources, and what I mean by Hani's resources is all of his connects with gear, supplements, knowledge, all that stuff. I think if he hooked up with Hani and Evogen, he would be a Mr. Olympian.
It doesn't really show in these standstill pictures, but if you guys watch the video, when you see Hassan move and flex, I mean, it's something like, I think we've never seen anything.
His legs are so nuts.
Yeah, it's almost like he has a body of like, it reminds me a little bit, obviously he's not as shredded and stuff, but of the way Tom Platz's body looked like. It was not too wide, but just thick everywhere.
This guy has at least 50 pounds of muscle on Tom Platz.
Yeah, obviously it's a completely different. But Tom Platz at that time was actually big too. He had a big upper body too. People don't know.
Yeah. I just never seen any arms on. There was never any arms on. What's his name?
Not much. Yeah. Yeah. Now this guy who's Mohamed Aliman, he came in. Apparently, Milos is coaching him now.
Oh, is he?
Which is really interesting because I thought that he joined Oxygen Gym.
Oh no, I don't know. Yeah, he's from India, right?
No. He's the Egyptian that lives in Russia.
Egypt, my bad.
He's just he's Indian. But you just grouped the whole. Anyway, so Sergio. Okay, let's go through the pictures a little bit more so we can comment. But I mean, I have comments on each one.
Okay, what are your comments? I'm curious.
So Sergio, honestly, probably for me, other than Nick Walker, Sergio impressed me the most. I know that you probably won't agree. So I originally thought of Sergio as like a Logan Franklin of bodybuilding. I thought that he doesn't, like, I don't really know why he's a bodybuilder. He chose the wrong sport for himself. He doesn't have good muscle separation, especially in his arms. And I thought his legs always overpowered his arms, and his back was weak and so on. His chest was weak. Obviously, I don't know what I'm talking about. But in this show, especially when he was not in the poses, but also when he was in the poses, he was much bigger, much rounder.
So he put on a lot of muscle since the last time he's been on stage. I was impressed with the tissue he put on. The only problem is he either was a fat issue, meaning he had too much body fat on him, or they spilled him with too many carbs because he had a big film of water on his back, and his glutes and his hams. And I think if Sergio was peeled like in the condition that Nick Walker was, I think he probably would have won the show.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, he could have been easily in the top 3 potentially.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know if you saw the later comparisons when they had Sergio near Kuclo, but he didn't fare too badly next to him. He actually had better shape. What I don't know, but to me it looked like he had a little bit of fat, but he was also sweating a lot on stage. I don't know if you saw, he was sweating. So I don't know if it was water, but to me, people were complaining that his waist looked big. It didn't look like that to me. It looked like he gained a lot of muscle, and his physique was very pleasing to the eye. That's what I thought, personally.
Leo, you know what stands out in this front double? Sergio, to me, looks really good in this shot right here.
Yeah.
But Hassan, that's a really bad shot for Hassan.
Yeah, Hassan is not always in the poses, I noticed. I don't know.
Midsection now is blown out a little bit.
Yeah, he has apparently when he was on the side, his midsection was just going crazy, apparently. But so, and then this Chul guy, Korean guy, he has, I think, the best biceps in the IFBB currently.
I will give Alex Kuclo credit. he looked a lot better with Alex than he did with Neil. I mean, light years better with Alex. When Alex trained him for the Olympia last year, he looked way better than he did at this show, like night and day difference.
Is that so? I didn't notice. I didn't know that he's with Neil. I thought, okay, he's with Neil. He's with Neil. This guy's with Milos. He's with Chris Aceto. Now he went to Oxygen Gym and completely lost his condition.
He's with Abdullah, and that was my pick to win the show, and he was very disappointing.
Me too. I thought
he was very undersized, smaller than usual.
Yeah,
less separate. I think the worst thing that ever happened to him is when him and Oscar Arden stopped working together. I guess he thrives when somebody pushes him in the gym, and he didn't have Oscar training him this year like Oscar did at the Olympia. Because if Akeem showed up like the way he did at the Olympia, I think it would have been a whole different ballgame.
At the Olympia, he was outsizing people like crazy. Here, you couldn't see that anymore.
He was way leaner.
Some people were saying he's just not in maybe great condition, so the muscle isn't popping on the skin, but you can see he's not outsizing people majorly.
He wasn't popping at all. Yeah, he's like maybe over-diuretic. I don't know.
So just for those that don't know, Akeem has a long history of sort of being inconsistent, sort of, and also usually not getting in condition. And then recently, in the last year and a half, he started getting in condition and really doing well, and up to the Olympia and up to his recent shows. And this is the first show I think he went backwards on, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Then Max Charles, I couldn't see much. I don't know if he's better or worse than normal. Milos was sort of making excuses for him. He was saying like Max basically doesn't take much drugs, doesn't eat much, doesn't do much stuff, and sort of hinted that he doesn't listen to him. So I don't know what that means.
Max is with Milos, but what did Milos said that?
Yeah, but it's sort of indirectly in his MD interviews recently. But so those are those other guys. I mean, that's my thoughts about them. I honestly thought that Hassan could, in certain poses, Hassan and Sergio and Mohamed Ali Iman could hold their own with the other guys in the top four, whereas these three couldn't. I felt like
Al Imam. A lot of people said that he got overlooked a little bit.
Yeah, he really could hold his own in many poses. He was really good. And to be honest, Hassan, I thought was in better condition. Personally.
Oh man, if that guy was shredded, Leo, no one would touch him. That Hassan guy.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so that's for the other guys. Now, let's go to the top four, the main ones. Okay, so let's talk about this. So listen, I actually picked these pictures myself. So I tried to get the best pictures they had. I tried to get them where they're always in the pose. I did my best. Unfortunately, I'll tell you one thing about Ian. Ian was not holding the poses long. You could see it in the videos also.
He never does. His posing, I don't know if he doesn't practice, but everyone critiques him on his posing. It looks like he never wants to be up there. He doesn't hold his poses.
Yeah, I was almost thinking like, does he not want to be captured in the pose exactly at the right moment as the other guy? Like, is he waiting for the other guy to go down so then he gets in the pose so it's not comparable exactly? I couldn't tell because he wouldn't hold them.
Yeah, no, that's a big, a lot of people talk about that with him.
Okay, so maybe we'll go pose by pose, or I don't know. Should we go? I don't think we should go necessarily pose by pose.
No, we don't have to go pose by pose. Just the thing that stands out to me is Nick just looks different than everyone else.
Okay, so unbelievably, is he the best conditioned guy you've seen, say, in the last 10 years on stage? In the
Oh no, I wouldn't say that. But at this show, his condition with everyone else was
no, obviously. But who comes in better condition than this? Really, like I guess I
remember guys like Branch Warren.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in the last 10 years. Obviously, Branch and Bonac even.
Branch competed a few years ago. Bonac brings insane condition.
That's true. Yeah.
Hadi brings insane condition.
That's true, Hadi. Okay, so that's true. But
there is a few guys that still do.
He is Hadi level conditioning.
Yes, for sure.
I mean,
Hadi just has more muscle maturity and separation in like the quads. But as far as the upper body, I would say he's in just as good condition.
So did you notice that Justin's right shoulder peaks more than the left and it's a little pointy?
A lot of people say that his shoulders are suspect. Like a lot of people have said that it looks like he put something in his delts. Yeah,
it looks a little bit different to both of them. But I'll be honest with you. If Justin's shoulders were slightly less suspect and if he didn't have as much of a hernia in his abdomen, I would have personally, if it was, because I want to ask you this, boss. When people look
I had him like third or fourth max. I had him like third. I had him like third, yeah.
I thought third after Kuclo if it was according to the judges, but if it was...
I had Ian in fourth. I had
Yeah.
Kuclo in second.
Second.
And then I had Walker winning.
So what? But the thing about Kuclo, right? And or maybe we'll get more into Kuclo later. Because there's an individual compare. I just want to use this one.
Kuklo's a big dude. Kuklo's a big ass dude. Like, he's big.
Because if you look at, I mean, I guess this is a better example. They compared them directly, which is really now raises this suspicion because they had this clear comparison of Nick and Kuclo extensively in the prejudging, and then later on, Kuclo mysteriously became third, which we'll talk about. But this is that intense comparison. And oh, by the way, one thing I didn't say about Sergio: if Sergio does this, most muscular, he looks insane. Yeah, but he did it for like a second. He looks insane. He's the only one who can compare to Nick Walker on that pose.
Yeah, because he has crazy arms and delts.
He looks insane in that pose, but he keeps going to his father's pose, and he needs to hold that other pose for a bit so people realize how crazy it is. But anyway, so what I notice is that Kuclo is huge, right? But he doesn't have the muscle separation that Nick has.
Exactly. He wasn't in the condition. Kuclo has always struggled with getting separated in his quad area and in his back. Hard to get a lot of back separation. But I thought he was a clear second. But you know what happened, Leo?
What?
Steve Kuclo's trainer, she's a female, her name's Gina Davis. She made a post that was kind of like a dig saying that Nick looks like he's made by chemicals and his flow sucks and his structure is bad. And then she also said that Steve is the winner because he's homegrown in this. She made a post after prejudge.
Really?
And I mean, I think it's funny. I think that stuff's kind of funny. But the IFBB and the organizations hate that stuff. They hate that stuff when you talk crap like that and you put down other competitors like that when you're in that it's like, training people. So she put that post after prejudge, and I thought to myself, I said, if they see that, they're not going to like that. I mean, they basically said that Nick's full of drugs, and that's the only reason why, he looks the way he does. But Steve should win because he's homegrown and all this shit. So I think that's my theory on this whole thing.
That makes a lot of sense. But can we comment on that? Okay, so say Nick Walker is an abuser of drugs. Why is it the fact that every time we ever saw somebody else gain a lot of size very quickly, like for example Ramy or something, they seem to lose muscle separation, right? We thought it was because of insulin or something like that, maybe causing fat in the muscle, or the muscle just grows so quickly it loses striations or something. We don't know exactly, right? But then if you look at Matt Jansen's clients, both God rest his soul, Dallas McCarver and Nick Walker, both of them have crazy muscle separation.
Yeah, I don't think they use much insulin, if any insulin in prep, which is I wouldn't use much, maybe one time a week, but they're not using it on a daily basis. But I think
it's interesting to note that, right? Because they don't have that look, that puffy look, that even, to be honest, even what's his name, the guy who got second last year, I always forget his name. You know what I'm talking about? The guy in Kuwait,
they got second to who?
In the Mr. Olympia. The silhouette guy, the shorter guy.
Who got second last year? Did Brandon get second?
Yeah, Brandon. So yeah, even Brandon doesn't have that separation. Like, he has that look, Ramy has it, Brandon has it. It's not
dude,
so...
they love insulin over there in the Kuwait. Look at Akeem. Look at Akeem. They probably loaded him with insulin.
Well, that's the other question. Listen, I want to ask you, like, what's the point of hiring Oxygen Gym if you live in America or in Europe and you're not traveling to Oxygen Gym? So you're hiring are they literally hiring them as coaches? Like, genuinely?
I don't think that's a good idea.
I don't know if but is it that, or is it like a sponsorship or something where you say you're with us?
It might be, because isn't Bonac with him now too? That's what I'm
saying. A lot of people are joining them that are not even going to Kuwait yet.
So they might be paying him, like Bader might be paying him, because Bader's a billionaire, millionaire, multi-millionaire. So you could be right. I think that's a good assumption, that they're probably paying them like a sponsorship to be with them. Yes.
So what do you think about this fact that, so I've been mentioning this for years, like, it's weird that recently in bodybuilding, the last few years, people don't have clear ab definition, but I thought it was because I thought it was because maybe the ab tendons have regressed or something. It's not just because they don't train them. Like you see how Nick has a space here. That's because of the linea alba spreading. But Nick is one of the only guys, and I think Justin recently worked on this, grew his abs also. What do you think about? Do you think everybody should work on their abs, getting them this thick?
Yeah, I know for a fact that Nick does a lot of ab work, and it shows because his abs are a lot more developed than the other guys.
This is his worst pose, by the way.
That his front poses are his worst poses. Yeah.
No, but the front lat spread is his worst specifically. That's the only one that's
100%. 100% is he can't really even hit that pose.
His biceps are incredible, man.
Biceps are nuts. Yeah, dude, he beat Steve in every pose. I didn't have Steve. Well, I mean, it showed in the scorecards that he smoked him, but I didn't have Steve beating him in one shot.
I only had him beating him in the front lat spread, but I don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but then if you come down to it, when you look at condition, then you're like, you know what I mean?
Okay, so now this is what I want to show you. Check out Ian versus Justin and Sergio.
Oh, Justin should have beat Ian. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Look at the back, Leo.
Yeah.
Back on Ian, it's so narrow. And look at and they're in both the same condition. And look at Justin. Look at his back. I mean, Justin got screwed at this show. I mean, everyone says so. It's not just me that's thinking this, but look at that.
But Sergio fares well as well. I mean,
yeah, he's bigger than all of them. Yeah, I agree, but he needs to be sharper. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's not as sharp, obviously.
Look at this. Look how bad Ian gets beat by Justin in this shot.
For me, Justin should be for me personally, I would have him second. Like he's the most.
I could see that too. Yeah,
I know his legs are smaller, but like I prefer that look, like very wide.
I could see that. Yeah, I mean,
very wide.
When you do compare him to Kuclo, he does get towered kind of bit, with size. But like this is not the best shot for Justin because he's blowing his stomach up. But this is actually a better shot for Ian than anyone. But this is like his one of his better shots. It looks like.
Isn't it a better shot for Sergio?
Well, it's a good shot for Sergio and Ian. I have those two winning this shot right here. It's a toss up between those two.
Okay, so what are the repercussions of this, Arnold? So first of all, are you gonna owe a lot of people a lot of money in 2 weeks?
I put my money on this show. I lost $50, and that was to Nate Spear. We did a bet last minute. I paid him immediately.
Wait, I didn't even know you bet on this one. I'm talking about the one in 2 weeks because you have a little bit of
okay. Yeah, we'll see. The bets are off if people can't show up. Like meaning. If people can't get into the show, I already told like the bets are off. Now, if everyone that we knew that was going to the Olympia can make it, Bonac, Nathan Diasha, guys that
Nathan is a key point of it, because I specifically think Nathan would be a big challenge.
So yes, the bet is still. I don't back out of bets. I have a lot of money on the line for the Olympia that he will not be in the top 5. So I have Brandon beating him. I have Ramy beating him. I have Hottie beating him. I have Bonac beating him, and I have Diasha beating him.
Yeah. I mean, me too. I mean, I had at least those, but I also thought that what's his name? Akeem would have beaten him too. I thought that originally.
Not now.
He's not going to get in the right. I don't know what he did to himself, but in the next 2 weeks, he's probably not going to get right.